Welcome to Chapter 9 of the Bergen Academy's video course from the Get Ready Guide. Chapter 9 is basic algebra and word problems. We're going to cover the following points. Number 1, variables. 2, expressions, equations, solution of an equation, simplifying equations, combining like terms, simplifying using addition and subtraction, and simplifying by multiplication or division. And then word problems as equations. Let's read this little note together. May I say, algebra is not tested on the exam per se, but it is a very useful tool in solving word problems, which are plenty on the test. I only focus on the basics of algebra in this chapter. Most problems can be solved mentally if you find all this algebra stuff scary. Now, I know some of you already finished an Algebra 1 course, which is very good. Some may be taking it this year, and some may not be familiar at all with algebra. So we're going to go over the basics here, and if you're comfortable using these rules, try to use them in the word problems. They will be very useful. If you're uncomfortable using them, then you can just solve all the problems mentally, even though this may take a little bit longer. Okay, let's define a few terms first. Number 1, what is a variable? A variable is a letter like X, Y, S, Z that represents a number. For example, we could say that G stands for the number of girls in a class, and B stands for the number of boys in a class. 2, expressions. An expression has numbers, variables, or both numbers and variables. So, the number 5 is an expression. The letter X is an expression. X plus 5 is an expression. Example. Let's take a look at this example here. John has $100 and Mark has D dollars. Write an expression for the total amount of money. It's 100 plus D. So this is called an expression. What about an equation? An equation is basically like an expression. Same thing, you have numbers and you have letters, or you have both, either only numbers or letters or both, but you always have an equal sign. So an equation is a statement in which expressions on one side are equal to expressions on the other side. There must be an equal sign in an equation. Okay, let's take a look at this. 15 equals 2 plus 13, this is an equation because it has an equal sign. X equals 7, equation because it has an equal sign. W plus 5 equals 12 minus W is also an equation because it has an equal sign. Okay. Now, how are we going to use this on the test? We said we're going to use it in word problems. So basically what I can do sometimes is translate a word problem into an equation. Let's take a look at this example. My age in years Y plus 15 is equal to 3 times my age minus 8. So we're going to call my age Y. So Y plus 15 right here. Y plus 15. Y plus 15 is equal to, equals 3 times my age. My age is Y, so 3 times Y, 3Y, minus 8. All of this minus 8. So my equation becomes Y plus 15 equals 3Y minus 8. Okay, number 4. Solution of an equation. How do you solve an equation? When an equation has a variable, a letter, the solution to the equation is the number that makes the equation true when we replace the variable, the letter, with its value. For example, y equals 5 is a solution to this equation. 3 times y plus 5 equals 20. So the solution is the number that I should put instead of the letter y in order to make this equation right. Here the answer would be 5, because 3 times 5 is 15. 15 plus 5 equals 20. Okay. Let's go on to the next page, simplifying equations. Now, in order to solve any equation, I need to simplify it first. And we have a few points we want to discuss here. Number 1, very important, is to combine like terms. So all the x's can be added, all of the y's can be added. For example, I say we have 3 girls in one class, plus 4 boys in that class, plus 6 girls in another class plus 7 boys in another class. What is the total number of boys and the total number of girls in both classes? I can combine the like terms, which is the girls. So anything with a G can be added to anything else with a G. So 3G plus 6G equals 9G. So that's the number of girls. So we can write here 9G. And then 4 boys and 7 boys, we can add these together. That gives me 11 boys. Now, can I add girls and boys? No, I can't, because they're different terms. So I can only combine like terms. So 5x plus 2x becomes 7x. Number 2, adding the same value to both sides. Whenever you have an equation, if you add or subtract, number 2 and 3, the same number to the left of the equal sign and to the right of the equal sign, you do not change anything in the equation. Meaning, you are allowed to do that. Why? Doesn't 5 equal 5? Okay. Add a 1 here and add a 1 here. Doesn't it become 6 equals 6? Okay. Subtract 2 here. Subtract 2 here. It's the same thing. This is going to give you 4. This is going to give you 4. So any number you add or subtract on both sides does not change anything in the equation. So you can add and subtract all you want, but the point is you need to add or subtract the same number on both sides. Number 4, multiplying the same value, and number 5, dividing by the same value. Similarly, if you multiply by a number on both sides, right and left, or divide by the same number on both sides, right and left, you do not change anything. For example, 10 equals 10. Now divide by 2 and divide here by 2. Becomes 5 equals 5, so you didn't change anything. Okay, 2 equals 2. Multiply by 3 here, multiply by 3 here, 6 equals 6. So for example, if I have something like this, x equals 7, I can add a 3 on both sides, making it x plus 3 equals 7 plus 3, which is 10. Or if I had x equals 7, I can multiply both sides, for example, by 5. So it becomes 5x equals 5 times 7, which is 35. And the same thing for subtraction or division. Number 6, combining like terms. Okay, now what we just finished right now was that we can add or subtract, multiply or divide the same thing, and that combining like terms means you add and subtract the same numbers. However, here, when we talk about actually combining like terms, why is it important? Let's look at the details here. We use this trick if we have letters that are the same and are being added or subtracted. So let's say, for example, we have something like this. We have a word problem that says, the number of girls in our school is 50, and that is equal to 2 times the number of boys, plus 3 times the number of boys in MS class. How many boys are in MS class? We can rewrite this as 50 equals 2 times the number of boys, plus 3 times the number of boys. One more time. The number of girls is 50. That is 2 times the number of boys, so 2 times the number of boys, plus 3 times the number of boys in MS class, which is another class, so plus 3 times the number of boys. If I call the number of boys b, then 50 equals 2b plus 3b, okay? Given that they're all in the same class. So 50 equals 2b plus 3b, 50 equals 5b. Now, didn't we say that you can divide the same number on both sides, right? We know that 50 equals 5b. Now, if you divide both sides by 5, what happens? You get 50 divided by 5 here equals 5b divided by 5. 50 divided by 5 is 10, and 5 anything divided by 5 is just the thing. So 5 times boys divided by 5, the 5 cancel out. The 5s cancel out. So 10 equals b, that means the boys are 10 boys in the class. Okay, number 7. Simplifying with addition and subtraction. As we said, you can add or subtract, multiply or divide any number on either side, just similar to what we did in the example before. If I have g plus 5 equals 20, I need to get rid of this 5 because I just want it to be g on the left. How do I get rid of the 5? By subtracting 5. But since I subtracted 5 here, then I need to do the same thing here and subtract 5 as well. So g plus 5 minus 5, they cancel out. You're left with only g. 20 minus 5 is 15. So we know that the number of girls in Evan's class is 15. Okay. Simplifying using multiplication or division, very similar to what we just did. Let's say I'm asking you to find x if x over 4 equals 2. And over, of course, means divided. So what do I need to do to get rid of this 4? Because remember, we just want to have x. We multiply by 4. But since I multiplied by 4 here, then I need to multiply by 4 here as well, because that doesn't change anything. Here the 4's are going to cancel out, giving you just x on the left, and 2 times 4 is going to give you 8. So we know that x equals 8. Okay, it's very simple. Of course, if you've been doing algebra, this should be extremely simple. Just a very quick revision so that you make sure you know all of the rules and tricks we need to know here. Okay, word problems as equations. Now, if you have a word problem, your best bet is to translate that word problem into an equation and then try to work it out. So, let's take a look here at how we can translate certain words into operations, into addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and so on. The word sum means addition. So if you see the word sum, you do addition. Total means addition. So the word total means plus. More than is addition. So if I say 10 more than my age, that means 10 plus my age. Difference is subtraction, so I do a minus. Less than is subtraction, so I do a minus. Times is multiplication, of course, so I do times. A product is multiplication as well, so I do times. Percent means divide by 100, or means over 100, like we discussed previously in the percents chapter. Per means over and cent means 100. So the word percent means over 100. Divide by 100. Of usually means times. So if I say 50% of 60, that means 50% times 60. And is usually means equals. So if I say x is 3 times 12, that means x equals 3 times 12. Okay, this is the end of Chapter 9, Algebra. It's very basic algebra, just a couple of rules here so that you are capable of solving word problems easily and quickly on the test. Again, for those of you who have not taken any algebra, if this seems too confusing, you again can answer most word problems on the test mentally without using any algebra rules. Okay, that's the end of Chapter 9. I'm going to see you next chapter, Chapter 10, Geometry.